Since it was announced that Thrawn would be returning back to his rightful place within the canon, there's been a wide range of speculation regarding Thrawn's future following the Rebels TV series. A prevailing viewpoint has come to conclude that since Thrawn's not heard from within the timeline of the current canon once the original trilogy begins, then it's quite reasonable that Thrawn won't survive the fourth and final season of Rebels. Adding to this speculation was the announcement that the character of Rook will be appearing in the upcoming season of Rebels, who of course was the character that was the architect of Thrawn's demise in Legends. So given Rook's entrance into the series, and the fact that Thrawn's not heard from within the current canon by the time of A New Hope, does this ensure that Thrawn will not survive Season 4 of Rebels? In this video expose, I will describe, despite this evidence, how Thrawn will survive past the Rebels TV series, based upon the information that was provided in the recent novel Thrawn by Timothy Zahn. The question of Thrawn's survival by the timeline that begins with the original trilogy has been on the mind of our God Emperor since it was first considered to bring Thrawn into Season 3 of Rebels. In an interview following last year's Celebration Europe, Dave Filoni had the following to say regarding Thrawn's presence within the galaxy by the time of A New Hope. When we start, I always want to know where it's all going. If we bring Thrawn in, we have to think reasonably about where is he. There are any number of reasonable answers, as simple as he's on a Star Destroyer. You can reasonably say that. That's a reasonable thing. You usually start off thinking, okay, at least we have a reasonable thing in the future. We need to know what our endgame is for this character. You go through a number of questions. Does he survive? Does he not survive? I think we have a nice path figured out for Mr. Thrawn. I wouldn't bring him back lightly without that plan. Clearly, Filoni and the story group have a plan for Thrawn's character regarding what happens to him not only in Rebels, but potentially afterwards as well. While I don't think the plan will entail Thrawn simply being on a Star Destroyer, there's certainly the possibility that he will be killed during the final season. This would provide a valid reason for why we don't see or hear from the Empire's Grand Admiral by the time of A New Hope. The addition of Rook in Season 4 would also seem to suggest that this is the direction for Thrawn. In Legends, it was Rook who, upon learning that Thrawn was secretly working to keep his home planet enslaved through indebtedness, rather than restoring it, assassinated the Chiss Grand Admiral. Could we also see Rook fulfill the same role that was seen in Legends and assassinate Thrawn in Season 4 of Rebels? I don't think so. Not only do I think that Thrawn will survive Season 4, I believe that the reason for Thrawn leaving the Empire, and what he'll be doing by the time of the original trilogy, has been hinted at in the new Thrawn novel. Although we don't know what the exact timeline is for the novel, by the time Thrawn becomes a Grand Admiral within the Imperial Navy, he not only knows about the Death Star project, but has deduced some of its functional details and its potential location based upon resource allocation and transportation vectors. And more importantly, it's clear that Thrawn is significantly troubled by the potential existence of such a weapon within the galaxy. But what's the connection between the Death Star and Thrawn's whereabouts at the time of the original trilogy? I believe that the Death Star will be the major catalyst for Thrawn leaving the Empire and rejoining the Chiss Ascendancy to continue the Chiss's fight against a presently unknown evil and dangerous threat within the unknown regions. To reach this conclusion, it's necessary to understand Thrawn's motivations for joining the Empire to begin with. As he informs Nightswan, an individual who was pushed to fight back against the Empire after hearing rumors and making his own discoveries regarding the Death Star project, Thrawn was exploring the edges of the galaxy occupied by the newly formed Empire following the Clone Wars to try to obtain information about the Empire for the Chiss Ascendancy. Thrawn's goal regarding the Empire was clear: to understand if the Empire that replaced the Republic could be a potential ally against the evil within the unknown regions, or having found it to be unworthy of becoming an ally, if the Empire should be weakened by the Chiss, to provoke the evil within the unknown regions to attack the Empire first, thereby giving the Chiss more time to learn how to defeat their enemies within the unknown regions. To this end, when given the chance by Palpatine to become an officer within the Imperial Navy, Thrawn took the opportunity to learn more about the Empire's military structures and better understand if the Empire was a better ally or sacrificial prey. During Thrawn's rise to become a Grand Admiral within the Imperial Navy, he concluded that the Empire would be a valuable ally in his fight against the threats within the unknown regions. Threats that he told Night Swan were far more evil and dangerous than the Empire, despite its corrupt and tyrannical nature. This is what motivated Thrawn to defend the Empire from rebel attacks, as weakening the Empire would be weakening his desired ally for the Chiss. But there was one thing that would force Thrawn to reconsider his alliance with the Empire: the Death Star. When directly asked by Night Swan what he would do once he discovered the full extent of the Death Star project, Thrawn confirmed that despite his position within the Empire, he still served the causes of the Chiss Ascendancy, and importantly, if he deemed the project to be a threat to the Chiss, he would have to reconsider his path within the Empire. Clearly, Thrawn is concerned about the secret project that the Empire is undertaking, and has no positive outlook on how it may assist the Empire. Thrawn only wants to know how it may endanger the Chiss Ascendancy. It's important to note that by the time Thrawn becomes a Grand Admiral, he hasn't yet discovered the true nature of the Death Star or its ultimate destructive power. Although he has his suspicions, he doesn't even truly know that it's a battle station. All Thrawn knows is that it involves a significant amount of resources, that Grand Moff Tarkin is involved at the top, and that the project is being built at a single location. Further, although Thrawn believes he knows where the project's construction location is, his abilities as a tactical genius let him know that he can't just go there, that he has to find the right time and alibi. But it's clear that Thrawn is concerned about the Death Star, even taking the time at his promotion ceremony, when becoming Grand Admiral, to directly question Palpatine about the project to discover its capabilities. I believe that in Season 4 of Rebels, we will see Thrawn discover the true nature of the Death Star, and its ability to destroy an entire planet. Upon this discovery, it will cause Thrawn to recognize, despite Palpatine's assurances that the Empire poses no threat to the Chiss, that the battle station is at least as great a threat to the Chiss as the threats within the unknown regions. Having recognized this new threat, it will push Thrawn to leave the Empire and abandon his efforts in considering them as an ally, and will rather prefer to have the Empire weakened to provoke an attack from the threats within the unknown regions. Thrawn can ensure this happens by leaving the Empire and allowing the rebellion to continue to weaken the Imperial Navy, as after Season 3 of Rebels, it's clear that Thrawn knows their capabilities in attacking the Empire. In doing so, Thrawn can rejoin the Chiss Ascendancy and their actions against the threats that wait in the unknown regions of the galaxy. I think this would be an exciting direction to take Thrawn in during the time of the original trilogy. Not only would we have more Thrawn, but we would get some amazing stories regarding his pursuits within the unknown regions, which could potentially bring him into conflict with the emerging First Order, the unknown evil and dangerous threats he speaks of within the novel, and even with Snoke. I'll conclude by saying that I believe that Thrawn sending his protege Eli Vanto into the unknown regions to assist the Chiss foreshadows Thrawn's ultimate reunion with the Chiss Ascendancy as well. At the very least, having the novel end with Eli joining the Chiss represents Thrawn's change in tactics, no longer viewing the Empire as an ally and depriving the Empire of his protege, to attempt to create chaos and disorder within its ranks through the rebellion, to provoke an attack on the Empire from the threats within the unknown regions. But regardless, I do believe that Thrawn will survive Season 4 of Rebels. So there we have it! Why Thrawn will survive the final season of Rebels, and how the Death Star will be a catalyst for his doing so. We love making these videos, so why not subscribe for more fun Star Wars theories and discussions? Also, if you enjoyed the video, think about giving a like or leaving a comment. If not for me, for proteges.